Hi, I'm Mary O'Toole, and I want to talk to you a little bit about forgiveness. Up until recently, I thought forgiveness meant that you approved of what someone else did, and therefore you forgave them. I didn't realize until recently or recent years that forgiveness is really about me, and it's about the emotions that we or I carry towards somebody else. If you have any anger towards anyone else, any resentments, any judgment, whatever you're carrying around towards somebody else, well, that means you're in debt to that person. So when I started my forgiveness work, and I actually started my forgiveness work when it was explained to me that when you have work to do around forgiveness, when you haven't forgave somebody, you're in debt to them. And that debt can translate into financial debt or being in debt in other areas of your life. So I started to do my work around forgiveness, and I started to forgive those that were easier to forgive first, and then things started to shift and things started to change for me. And I quickly understood that forgiveness was really about me and what I was carrying around with me towards somebody else. And I got my own stuff. I don't need to be carrying other people's stuff around with me. And there's a lot of work that we can do around forgiveness. And forgiveness is a continuous work. It's not something you do now and then you're done. It's always continuous. And so I invite you to look at your life and who you need to forgive and who are you in debt to and what you're carrying around with you towards somebody else. And maybe that does translate to financial debt in your life as well. Start clearing up areas or with people where you need to forgive and see what happens to your financial flow. You don't have to take my word for it. You can try this for yourself. But I want to share a story with you. A client of mine, and she gave me permission to share this. And I recently started working with her, and it came to me that she needed to forgive her daughter. There's a lot of stuff between her and her daughter and around her grandson. And she is in the process of getting custody or parentship to her grandson. And she needed to do some work around her daughter for forgiveness. And at first, she wasn't sure if she wanted to do it. It was really hard. But she took on thinking about it. I asked her to just think about it, and she did. And she started whispering it that she forgave. And the process she used, she decided to say it to herself so many times a day. And within 2 weeks, her daughter called her, and it was a nice phone call, and she's giving her the parental rights to her grandson because that is the best thing for everybody. And it was a nice flow. So it wasn't that she had changed her daughter, it was how she felt about her daughter. And there's another client of mine too where she needed to do some forgiveness work around her mother. And at first she couldn't even get the words out of her mouth, and then she started to practice and realized how much she carried around towards her, how much anger she had towards her mother. And that shifted and changed where there's now an opening and a new possibility of a different relationship. So those are just a couple examples, and I could share many more with you of how forgiveness work is really important in your life. Even if you don't know it, it's really important. So you don't have to take my word for it. As I said, you can try this for yourself, and there's many ways to practice forgiveness. You can do it through meditation. You can write it down. I, Mary O'Toole, forgive whoever completely. You could say it out loud or in your head or whisper it to yourself. And I like to, what works for me is saying it out loud and then counting on my fingers. So I do 35 times in the morning, 35 times at night for at least 7 days. You can do more if you want. Or you could write it down 35 times in the morning, 35 times at night for 7 days or more. Or you can do a meditation towards it, or you can pretend the person is beside you and you say what you need to say and you work around the forgiveness. So there's many practices that you can try that see what works for you to do your work around forgiveness. So I hope this helps, and I can't stress enough the importance that doing your forgiveness work is for every one of us in our life, and it's continuous work. And you don't want to be in debt to anybody else, and it's not about them, it's about you. So I hope this was helpful to you, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. It's Mary at thelightwithinwellness.com. Check out my website, thelightwithinwellness.com. Look at meditation, and you can download some great meditations there for yourself as well. If you have any questions, I hope to hear from you, and thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to you soon.